This goes out to all the women in the world, especially her. You know it don't even matter your age, don't even matter your color. Yo, fellas, I ain't forget about y'all. This is for everybody that like things. Just listen to what I'm saying and do it and take a chance. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll it grind. Just get on the floor like I said before. Y'all remember that down low? Just put a little dip with it. Now roll those hips with it. Pop it, push it, rock it, roll it. Can't control it, I come hold it. It's all in fun, so take a chance. Just get on the floor and do that dance, y'all. I know you like it, so don't try to fight it. Turn around, baby, let me see you from the back. Yeah, I like it like that. Get up now, roll those hips. Drop down, double up on those dips. Freak nasty, wanna see, can y'all do this right? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll and grind. Back again with the second verse. It's all clean, so I'm not gonna curse. Dropping bass like a bad habit. Love all women, cause I gotta have it. Coming at y'all in stereo. I'm riding that thing like a rodeo. Hang on, baby, cause the ride is rough, and I got my girls in the front. Now and later, just bumping that rump. Raise it up, let me see that brown. Slap it, girl, make it jiggle around. Round and round that rump goes. Where it stop, yo, no one knows, yeah. Freak nasty, wanna see, can y'all do this right? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll and grind.
Well, all right, y'all. All right, y'all. If you ain't dipping, you must be tripping. If you ain't doing it down low, got to go. Got to go. So the people that moving slow, just moving slow. Yo, DJ, pump it up some more.
It's off to the show in a limo. Before the show, I gotta get that dough. Pay them girls what they work. Slip that money under that skirt. Take it off, baby, let me see. You might get a little more Lucci. G-string, having oh so much fun. Playing inside between them buns. Shorty got it going on like Marvin. Teasing me and she know I'm starving. Lick you up, then lick you down. I ain't finished, girl, turn around. Lick you up and down your back, cause I'm that freak, I'm freaky like that. Freak nasty, wanna see, can y'all do this right? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll and grind. I'm setting it off to another level. You're digging freak nasty without a shovel. This is my world, I'm just a squirrel trying to get enough. So what's up, yo DJ? When the party's getting slow, join this jam and watch that flow get taken over like a 94. When I have the whole world getting down low. New Orleans born, ATL living. Freak nasty is what I'm giving. My juice is sweet like Georgia peaches. Women suck it up like leeches. It feels so good, you must admit you like this. Shh, yeah, y'all know the song. So come on, won't you sing it? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip.
Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even?
The Dow right now is over 50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. That's what we should be talking about. The Dow right now. S&P at almost 7,000. The American people need to know this. Need to know how is the Dow.
Let me address the survivors, because that's
How is the Dow.
How many?
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? How's everybody doing? What am I going to make people mad about tonight? I don't know. There's a couple of things that we might be able to make people mad about. Let's see. We got Luke. We got Luke here. How's it going, Luke?
Hey, just a minute, you. Them's fighting words.
So Luke, You want to know something really ironic?
What is?
Jesse Jackson spent his whole adult life hating Jews, and now he's supposed to spend eternity in hell with them. I don't know. That's seems kind of ironic to me.
Was he one of those blocks he hated Jews, or was that just part of it?
He was not fond. He was not a fan.
No.
He famously called New York Jaime Town. Which I'll be honest, that's an old one. Like you don't hear him called Jaimes. Like that's he was old school that way.
What is a Jaime? What does that mean anyway?
It's a Jewish slur, I guess, but it's like your grandfather's Jewish slur. It's like 100 years ago Jewish slur. It was old when Jesse Jackson was around. Man. Oh, what a piece of shit he was. What an absolute piece of shit. At least Martin Luther King gave fucking pretty speeches. Like Jesse Jackson wasn't even good at that.
Indeed.
What a shit.
That's
what a shit bag.
I wanted to use AI to look up his accomplishments, but then they asked, "Would you like me to list their controversies?" Sure, let me get that in just a minute.
So there was a book really good. It came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, called Shakedown, which was just this like history of Jesse Jackson's career. Basically Jesse Jackson would show up to a big company with his gang of rabble rousers and go, "This is a nice company you have here. It'd be a shame if somebody called it racist," and they just give him money to go away. Like that's how he made his living, his entire fucking life.
Oh wow.
Like that's all he did. Well, that and make a lot of bastard children, but that's it. That's all he did. He was a reverend. I'm not sure I ever heard him say the name of Jesus. So I guess he was more a Catholic priest. But oh, Lord, what a shitbag he was. What an absolute shitbag. Luke, I have something I think I want to drop on Twitter that I think might piss people off. So Here it is. Now you need to hear me out on this. Sam Hyde is just the right-wing George Carlin. Okay, so
maybe.
hear me out. Hear me out. George Carlin had some legitimately funny bits. He really did.
Right.
He was capable of being a very funny comedic actor. Most of his career was wasted on jerking himself off because he was a arrogant, contrarian asshole.
Yes.
He was notoriously hard to work for, which limited his own career. And most of what he would say in his quote-unquote comedy specials were designed for applause and not laughter.
Yeah.
Now, who does that sound like?
Huh.
Like I've never gotten the Sam Hyde appeal that much. Like the TED Talk bit was hilarious. There's a few other bits he did that were great. And he makes a lot of points I agree with, but that's not comedy. Even if he says it in a slightly comedic way, that's designed for applause. Not
right.
Laughter. You're in that Jon Stewart territory where you're a political commentator who pretends to be a comedian. So if you lose an argument, you could be, "Hey, I'm just a comedian." And the whole reason the Zoomers have embraced Sam Hyde as much as they have is because they grew up in a time where they weren't allowed to hear any comedy. And it was the closest thing to actual jokes they got to hear. It was the closest thing to edgy they got to hear. They were a little too young for the Chappelle Show.
Let's see.
Room service became
I feel like that would piss off a lot of people. Because Sam Hyde fans are big Sam Hyde fans. I mean, I just mentioned he's overrated. And I go, "Fuck you, you fat fuck." It's like, yeah, I'm fat. He's also overrated. Yeah, I'm overweight. He's overrated. Like, thank you. Establish both those things. Matt Forney says George Carlin was hilarious. I don't know about that. He had his moments. Carlin definitely had his moments. I know it's become really fashionable to shit on Carlin now, and he kind of deserves it, but like Carlin had some fucking bangers. And Carlin was a pretty funny comedic actor when he actually was showing up on set and trying. Again, Carlin always believed he was the smartest man in the room, despite all evidence to the contrary. And he was very difficult to work with, and he always thought he was above it all, so he wouldn't do certain. He was his own worst enemy. And again, he wanted to jerk off his audience more often than make them laugh.
Room service became guest room dining, and constipation became occasional irregularity.
Carlin had his moments, but I mean, I definitely get the backlash he's gotten, but I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that's Sam Hyde. I just feel like Sam Hyde. Like I agree with more of Sam Hyde's points, but making a point with an occasional smart aleck remark in the middle of it is not a comedy routine. Like that's not stand-up comedy. That's not, or whatever he calls it now, I guess. I don't know. It's not something that should be on Adult Swim. I'm sorry to tell you. Now, granted, it's better than Tim and Eric, anything they fucking produced, but
see, what is Sam Hyde doing these days anyway?
I don't know. Like I said, I've never. Sam Hyde also looks like he's going to explode. He looks like Bane when he injected too much of the venom in Batman.
Let's see.
Chad says Sam Hyde was never super funny. The only genuinely like really killed me bit that Sam Hyde ever did that I saw was his TED Talk bit. It was just like the Roman soldier or whatever, and went on about like state enforced homosexuality and all these other things. That was a genuinely amazing bit. Also because like the audience was like thought they were in for a real TED Talk and shit.
Oh, that was hilarious, though.
That was great. I mean, but it's like, what else has he really fucking done? Like I'm sorry, I'd rather watch paint dry than fucking Fish Tank. Like, I really, like, it's like, wow, I did The Real World from MTV from 35 fucking years ago. Like, awesome, cool, I guess.
So one of his most recent videos is called Your Winter Arc Starts Now. I'm not sure what this is.
Careful, he might copyright strike us. I mean, he doesn't seem like he'd be above it. The Dow. Yes, that's right, Chad. The Dow is over 50,000.
So is that bad or good? I can't keep track of these stuff.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to the stock market because it's fucking gay. It's all fake and gay. I'm sorry to tell you. When's the last time Green Line went up ever made your life better, Luke?
Nah.
I mean, occasionally if Red Line goes down, you get fucked. But you never get a reward when Green Line goes up.
Yeah.
Like, you ever hear your work be like, hey, guys, Green Line went up. Everybody gets raises. Never seems to happen. Occasionally, Red Line goes down means you get laid off. But Green Line goes up just doesn't seem to do anything for any normal fucking person. Well, my Twitter firestorm did finally die down. I haven't seen any. I mean, I'm sure there's a few replies to the thread that I muted, but I don't get any DMs anymore from angry trads. I don't get them popping up under things, like other things like, oh, you bought comics this week, you fucking nerd.
The thing is, Bob, it's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care.
But I did think, look, let's have some story time. So we talked about my evangelical girlfriend last time.
Yes.
And how terrible she was, and she was. I wish her nothing but the best. I hope she's doing good. She was a terrible girlfriend. I hope for whatever dudes she's with now's sake that she's improved. But I did mention that I dated not one but two former pro doms. And I figured, you know what? Let's have a little story time. That might be worth fucking talking about. That's some quality content, don't you think, Luke? Some
Of course,
nice
of course.
life-affirming stuff. Okay, so the first one of these, I was about 25. Get bit of that quarter life crisis. Now, I had two significant girlfriends at this point. My high school sweetheart, which was on again, off again constantly. I couldn't, gun to my head, tell you how many times we broke up and got back together. There was a little church mouse. So that had ended badly, and then tried to kind of rekindle with the old high school sweetheart. But there comes a point when there's just too many on again, off agains. You know, it's just that's taking its toll. Plus, that girl had a lot of self-destructive habits that were at that point beginning to reach a critical mass. I still think about her and hope she's doing okay. Hope she's not dead or in prison. So I was a little lost. You know, the whole church mouse thing, that left me feeling a little disillusioned, even with my... I don't even want to say my faith. It's not that I disbelieved in God, but I was pretty disillusioned with the church. A position I found myself in multiple times over the years. So, for whatever reason, I end up on one of these fucking dating sites that's dedicated to people that are into the old BDSM black arts. Probably not a good place to wander to, but I did. I have never been accused of being wise in that area. And when I get there, what do I find but nothing but fucking whores? Look, I just pro doms as far as the eye can see. Some of the fin doms, some of the ones that just give me money for nothing, some of them. And even if I was into that, I just don't have any money. So that's just not... Especially at 25. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not something I could have gotten into if I wanted to. So I was like, well, this sucks too. Oh my gosh. But I stay around on that site because they had a little journal feature, and I just decided to write things about that. I had dabbled in that with the high school sweetheart quite a bit. You know what I mean? I've always kind of been into that, I guess. I mean, always kind of like the boss. Like, I think one of my earliest crushes was a rather bitchy fucking teenage babysitter I had when I was a little kid. So I don't know. That might have been just literally innate in me. So I'm writing thoughts on all this stuff, you know, that kind of thing. And I had a little profile. Well, the one day I get a message from this chick, and you know, she's like, you know, I liked your profile. I want to talk to you more. I want to get to know you more, that kind of thing. I'm like, okay. And I look at her profile, and it's a fucking pro dom. And I'm like, motherfucker. And I was just like, all right. And I'm being polite. I'm like, you know, look, I'm not really looking for a session or a pro dom or, you know, pay pig or whatever else you want to call this shit. I'm not looking for that. I just immediately get a response back. Did I ask you for money? Okay, well, I guess you didn't. Yeah, and come to find out, we talked for about, I don't know, maybe a week or two. You know, went from messages to text to phone calls to having lunch. She was lived a little less than an hour and a half away from me. She's not too far. I'm used to driving far. I live in the middle of nowhere. We went from like first message to like having lunch in probably between 2 and 3 weeks, if I remember correctly. Reasonably fast. She was a pro, and she was telling me she was basically done with it. She just kind of had enough. She'd made a lot of money doing it, but it was no longer as fun as it once was for her. And she was just done.
Right.
So we get lunch. She wasn't really fat, but she was kind of thick. You know what I mean? Much more so than my previous girlfriends. So she had a rack on her. Like, holy shit. So I'm literally just nervous and all, and I'm just staring at this rack the whole time. And she calls me out on it at one point, and I'm just, you know, stuttering like an idiot. And she starts laughing about it. But a very amused laugh. I ended up at her place that night. It went fast. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in short order, I'm pretty much spending every weekend there.
Right.
And you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I almost don't know how much of the gory details I want to say because I don't want to sound like I'm bragging about shit. But that went on for a little while. She finally, I want to say this was maybe 10 months total we were together. It wasn't a year, but it was definitely more than 6 months, you know?
Uh-huh.
And she's moving out to Ohio because she's now getting serious about her office job. I don't remember exactly what it was. But she's getting serious about her office job, and they offered her some big ass fucking promotion, you know, and more money. And she basically offered to take me with her.
Oh.
I declined. And to this day, I wonder, was that a fumble? Trust me, every day that I'm at work and it's going terribly, I'm like, why did I say no? But some of the reasons I said no, I would have had to leave my whole life behind, basically. I mean,
right.
That's far enough away where it's like goodbye friends and family, basically, you know. Good. I mean, I have roots here, you know what I mean?
Right.
And also the bigger thing was like she wasn't hostile to Christianity, which I'll get into here in a minute, but she wasn't a believer, and it was one thing to be fooling around with her, you know what I mean? It was another to be like, I gotta make a choice here, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
In or out completely. You know, like basically I had to marry her essentially. And I was like, I can't. I just didn't feel right about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I said no. And I often, believe me, I often think like, maybe I should have said fucking yes. You know what I mean? Like, trust me, every shitty job I've had since then, I was like, why did I do that again? One weird thing, and this is more common than I knew at the time, and I think than a lot of other people knew. She was a member of a club that had consisted of male and female doms alike. I don't know a ton of details about this other than they met at least once a month and she paid dues. Don't know how much. Again, you know, there was a lot of like, I'm not sharing that info. Like there was a lot of like, you know, you're not privy to this information kind of thing going on there. She told me they had parties that were called munches, which I would come to find out is a common term in BDSM circles. These parties consisted of anything from a normal like dinner party kind of situation to apparently some eyes wide shut shit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm getting this secondhand, but it's like I know that this was a real thing she was involved in, and I really have no reason to doubt any of what she did tell me. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But those were at least pretty damn common. I don't know if they are now because, you know, Zoomers never leave the fucking house, so they've kind of killed all social clubs. So who knows these days? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A sex orgy, I'd have to leave my house for that. Like,
oh.
Zoomers are too pathetic for the sex orgy. That was a weird thing. The other thing that was weird about it, Luke, I had played at that kind of stuff before, but there was a big difference between that and this is just the dynamic of the relationship. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there were actual rules involved in the relationship. She didn't tell me I wasn't allowed to read comics. They didn't go that far. They were just some pretty simple rules and expectations.
Right.
Like, I was still allowed to cuss. You know, like, I mean, it wasn't as oppressive as the submissive church girl.
Right.
But that was kind of why I pointed that out in the original church girl thread, because I'm like, guys, this is worse than living under a fucking mistress. Like, what do you think? She was also about I think 11 years older than me. She was 36, I think, when I was 25. Which is, I've found that I have a lot more in common with the people that are 10 years older than me than the ones that are 10 years younger. Say what you will about how culture has changed and all, but like, as an 83 baby, I identify more with the 73 babies than I do the 93 babies. Like, the less you remember pre 9/11 America, the less we have in common. Other weird things, she grew up in a very religious home, which is kind of why she was somewhat I don't want to say hostile, but didn't think highly of the church. She was one of something like 10 fucking kids, Luke. And
wow. Oh wow.
It's weird. She was a very materialistic person, but not in the way that women usually are. You know, women are usually very materialistic in a real keeping up with the Joneses kind of way.
Right.
Whereas men are more materialistic, I think, in a I just think this is cool kind of way. Like, I don't have a bunch of fucking old comic books because I'm trying to impress the general population. I just think they're cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how men are. You know what I mean? A car guy is a car guy because he likes cars. You know, a fucking gamer is a gamer because he likes, you know what I mean? Whereas women are more like, what sort of social status does this get me? You know, like, again, this is the keeping up with the Joneses shit. She really wasn't like that. She lived a very private life. She was very materialistic. She wanted her things, her ways. But for her, and I come to kind of realize that was because of how she was raised. She grew up in this house with just, you know, her fucking nutbag religious parents were like, you know, arrows in a quiver. You know what I mean? They just wanted to produce as many soldiers for God, I guess, as they could. She told me some story once of how, like, she had saved up some money for some fucking toy she wanted. Again, this is a story somebody told me nearly 20 fucking years ago, so I don't remember all the details. Saved up money for some fucking thing she wanted, a doll or something. Who cares? But as soon as she got it, it became everybody's because everybody had to share all the fucking time. And tragedy of the commons, of course, it was fucking trashed. And that was something that still bugged her well into adulthood. You know, like, fuck that. I'm never living like that again, you know? I've never been a fan of big families, by the way. I think that it reaches a certain point where it's like, what are you doing? You know, like, it's like having dogs. Like, if somebody has a dog, it's like, cool, can I pet your dog? Awesome. If you have 2 dogs, like, awesome, cool, I guess. 3 dogs, like, that's getting to be a bit much. 4 dogs, you're like, wow, that's kind of too many dogs. Can you really take care of that many dogs? 5+, and I'm like, this is mental illness. And I'm worried for the dogs. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I am with kids. Like, 1 kid, cool. 2 kids, yeah, sure. 3 kids, it's a bit much. 4 kids, oh man, what are you doing? 5 kids, what? Whoa, brakes on this. 5+. What is going on here? Are you a gremlin that fell into a swimming pool? What is happening? I see somebody's doing an end tower in the chat. Awesome, cool.
I got you, and I also found a new thumbnail for your stream.
Awesome. Hell yeah. But yeah, that was that little story. I don't know. I feel weird sharing details of it. But
so is it like, was it common? Like you said, for your first girl was in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it common for girls to know that stuff in high school?
What, like BDSM stuff?
Yeah.
I think I kind of introduced more of that to her, to be honest. Because I was somewhat familiar with it. I always sort of had that taste. You know, you'd see it in popular fiction or whatever, and I was like, yeah. And so, like, we started playing around with that, but like, trust me, like, she was like this repressed cat. She had gone my high school sweetheart had uber religious Catholic parents, like crazy Catholic, like fucking Shiite Catholic. And yes, I know that's a Muslim term. That's the joke. Before any trads, like, that's not, shut up. She was kind of sheltered and all. And let me tell you, when the floodgates fucking opened with her and me. Like, we were like 17 when we really started fooling around. And let me tell you, in short order, we did everything. Like, just everything. And, you know, we were young and in love and wanted to. I mean, but yeah, there was all sorts of playing around with that sort of stuff. And it was all like just role play and shit. I mean, it's not like we had toys and equipment. We were teenagers, you know what I mean? But yeah, we played around with that sort of stuff. But there's a difference between that and someone that did it full time. And again, that's the other thing. I remember her saying one time about like strap-ons, and that's something I've never had any interest in, because it's like, what is the point of this? I still to this day don't really understand what the fuck it is. But I remember saying that to her, and she's like, I don't know. A lot of clients want it. I don't understand the fucking point either. And she's like, I think some of those guys are just gay and they don't want to admit it. So. But it was interesting. Learned a lot from her too, I tell you that. I always looked young too, by the way, Luke, which is a fact that at the age of 40, almost 43 now, I kind of appreciate. But not so much when I was a young man. When I was 25, I looked like I was fucking 15. Like, you could have mistaken me for 15. And I actually remember one time when I was over at this Dom chick. I was over at her place, and her mother stopped by. And this was kind of awkward because it's like, we'd only been seeing each other for a few weeks, and I wasn't, you know, looking to meet parents at this point, but I guess I did. And I'm then in the other room, and I hear her and her mom in the kitchen, and I hear her mom literally say, like, what are you, like, kind of like loud whisper into her, like, what are you doing? You're going to get in trouble. Like, she thought her daughter was fucking the teenage neighbor or something. Oh, like, no. And I remember her going, he's 25. And she goes, he is not 25.
Oh, Beglov, the trouble you get into.
But hey, looking younger is now a thing at the age of almost 43. I greatly appreciate it.
Mm.
I remember when I turned 40, the one job I was at, everyone was like, I didn't know you were 40. I would have thought like 35, younger even. I was like, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm.
It's nice. It's nice now. It wasn't so nice then. Although I guess she thought it was nice, to be honest. She probably didn't mind. Luke, I just saw something on Twitter today, and I had no fucking idea this existed. You can probably find it on my Twitter. There's apparently a chain of comic book stores. I had no idea this fucking existed. I'm going to bring it up on my Twitter, too, because I want to take a look at the name of it and all that shit. Because there's people complaining about how much they suck, and I'm sure they do. Newbury Comics is apparently a chain of comic book stores that are in the mall.
Newbury Comics, you say?
Yes. That these are in malls of all fucking things. And all the people talking about are complaining about it. One person calls it a hot topic disguised as a comic book store.
You look at the little dolls on the wall. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, and a wall of Funko Pops in the year of our Lord 2026. Not a good sign.
Yeah.
Most of the comic stores I know of, by the way, don't deal with Funko Pops anymore. Like though I know the one guy I talk to a lot, and I kind of know a little of his inside baseball that runs one down in Maryland. And he was telling me point blank, he goes, I don't buy collections of them anymore. Like, not at all. I don't generally buy new ones unless they're just some specific characters I think will move just based on the character. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But the days of a comic book store having a wall of Funko Pops and they're all like Golden Girls and Office and NFL players, that's done. Those days are past.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these places are trying to get out of that shit. They're trying to move what they have, and they're trying to not bring in new ones. The pop thing is fallen. I didn't think that a chain of comic book stores existed. I've never seen these anywhere. They're apparently in the Northeast. I guess. I've just never fucking seen one. Part of the reason I don't think that chains are capable of doing comic book stores well is a large portion of a comic book store's appeal is aftermarket shit, either back issue bin or old figures and toys and shit of that nature. Corporations are not good at dealing with aftermarkets. They're not. I mean, look at how bad it was when GameStop notoriously tried to get into retro games a couple years ago. In order to be good at doing like aftermarket shit, you gotta be willing to drive like an hour and a half to look at somebody's collection in a basement and fucking haggle with them.
Yeah.
There's no regional corporate manager that can or will do that. That's why nearly every comic book store I ever knew of is a local business run by a weird bohemian nerd. Like, that's what they're meant to be. The closest thing to a chain I knew of before this, there is a place in Annapolis, Maryland called Third Eye. Maybe you can bring up pictures of it. It is a huge comic book store. It doesn't have much of a back issue bin because Third Eye has a kind of a corporate culture to them. And the reason I say they're a chain is because Third Eye in the last 5+ years has done this thing where they will find struggling or ready to close comic book stores in the greater tri-state area and assimilate them like the fucking Borg.
Huh.
They have a bunch of smaller stores. I can think of one in particular that was in Waldorf, Maryland, my old hometown. And I remember hearing after I discovered Third Eye, oh, there's a Third Eye in Waldorf, you know? And I went down there on one weekend and checked it out. And it was just the comic book store that had been there a few years prior had just been assimilated into becoming a Third Eye. But having these small little sister stores is the closest thing to a chain I ever heard of. But like a real corporate comic book store chain is not something I knew existed until today. And apparently it's terrible. Like, I see comments on Twitter like saying like, I feel bad for people that this is their only comic book store or something. Like, yeah, I'm sure a corporate comic book store in a mall fucking sucks. I have no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, they're not gonna. I can't imagine like a corporate, like a comic book store in a mall is actually a comic book store. Like, I can't imagine it would have that kind of setting. There's a comic book store just down the street from where I am, and I know what it would be like. And a mall wouldn't have that. Like, a mall is too clean and too pristine to have like a comic book kind of setting.
I know of a couple of comic book stores that existed malls and have done pretty well, but even they are small businesses run by some weird bohemian nerd. Like, that's just what a comic book store has to be. Chat asks, I haven't been inside a comic store in 20+ years. In general, are brick and mortar comic stores struggling? I would assume so. I mean, a little bit, because every brick and mortar store is struggling because everybody is, you know, everybody's either shut-ins that likes ordering shit online, or they're just, too afraid of Somalia raping them to go outside. It's just kind of the name. The third places in general are struggling in this country. That said, comic book stores are not nearly in as bad a shape. I know there's a whole cottage industry on YouTube of people who want to tell you that the comic book industry is going to collapse next week because Mo woke, and that's why you should go buy Isom. But that's not. I mean, I live in Lancaster County, Luke. That's you. This is hardly a bustling metropolis. You've been here.
Yeah.
You crashed on my couch. This is not.
Yeah.
This is not exactly a bustling metropolis of an area. There are 3 thriving comic book stores in this county alone. Now, one of them, I will give credit, is also partly a retro game store. So maybe you could say 2.5. But just within an hour and a half drive of me, which is kind of nothing because everything's is about 30 minutes away from me. Then an hour and a half drive of me, there's like 20. I really don't think they are doing that bad. I really don't. The comic book industry is going to die tomorrow. I've been hearing this since 1997. I just don't think that's the case. I especially don't think that's the case when it comes from like Eric July, who's trying to sell you his dog shit comic, or some guy with the British dude that looks like a thumb that screamed about pronouns. You know what I mean? Like, these guys all have an axe to grind. Yeah, I know there's issues with that shit in entertainment in general, and it sucks. But I think it's hit its peak a couple years ago. To be honest with you, it seems to be dwindling. But also, a lot of that, like, based critics, where it's like, I'm going to complain about how woke shit is. After a while, that starts to turn into, like, right-wing Anita Sarkeesian.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're just looking for this shit. You're just, like... Chat says the collapse of Diamond Comics distributors. Yeah, I mean, that hurt. Diamond collapsing, but it's like, I mean, Marvel and DC and a lot of these other companies just went with other shit. Like, it sucks. I mean, but the one that got hurt the worst was Dynamite. That's the one that really was not prepared, did not have any plan B. Dynamite kind of got fucked in the ass a little bit there, but even Dynamite's doing okay. So speaking of all these Comicsgate and like, Eric July types and all, I was thinking about yesterday. I think of all these crowdfunded non-woke Comicsgate, Iron Age, whatever you want to call them, comics, I think the 3 most successful ones are probably Cyberfrog, Common America, and Isom. Those are probably the 3 that made the most money, have the most fans, whatever you want to call it. And I was thinking, Luke, if I went to a Comic-Con, a regular Comic-Con, Wizard World in Philly, San Diego Comic-Con, and I walked around with a mic and I was doing like, man on the street, just asking people, do you think I'd get even one person that recognized any of the 3?
Oh.
And by the way, I like Cyberfrog. Full disclosure, I like Cyberfrog. I think it's good. I think EVS should be banging him out a little faster than he is. But I got the trade of the 90s stuff that he did back in the day. It's quite good. Made me even want to get the fucking action figure he has. What I've read of the modern stuff is quite good. I hope he finally gets it all done to where he can put it in a fucking collection. Because I'm not tracking down $25 variant covers on eBay. Fuck that. All that said, though, I like Cyberfrog. I don't know that that many people at a Comic-Con are going to recognize Cyberfrog. If there's a heavy weeb presence, maybe they'd recognize Common America. Because it appeals greatly to the weebs. They might recognize Cyberfrog. I really don't think any of them recognize Isom. I think that's the bottom of the barrel. I think that Isom is a book that people who like Eric July buy and pretend to like. It's Because first of all, it's bad. Isem's terrible. Isem is utter dog shit. I like Cyberfrog. I really do. I think it's solid. I could see why people would like Common America. It's not for me. It's a bit too weeb. I got the collection. I read the earliest ones. It feels like the poor man's empowered to me, if I had to boil it down. But I could see why people would like it. I don't think it's awful. There is some heart and soul that goes into it. Isem is utterly creatively bankrupt dog shit. It is shit from a butt. Honestly, my biggest hatred of Comicsgate came from the fact that I thought it was just all like Air July. Like when it first came out, I know Liam was trying to get me on streams with these people, and I was like, I don't care. And I also don't think comics need crowdfunded. They don't. Sorry to tell you, these guys want to complain about our comic stores dead. Is the brick and mortar model sustainable? Crowdfunding is not sustainable. Okay, it's all hype. It's all sizzle. It's all sizzle, no steak. The idea that EVS is Cyberfrog is great, but the idea that he's going to forever be able to sell via Kickstarter or whatever $25 single issues of comics that people have to wait 2 years to read. That doesn't last. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm glad he's made a lot of money off of it. I hope he can position Cyberfrog into something normal people have a fucking opportunity to read. Because it is quite good. But that's not a sustainable model. I mean, at least Eric July and fucking Common America have managed to get their shit into comic book stores, and you can just go on Amazon and buy it. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to buy Isem. That's the other thing. I read Isem for free in a Discord years ago, and I was like, this is the most creatively bankrupt, retarded horse shit I've ever read. This is like early Image, young blood kind of fucking terrible writing, except the art is mediocre too. It's not even bad. At least Rob Liefeld's art was bad in a funny way and therefore entertaining. No, this is just mediocre. It's the worst thing a piece of entertainment can be, and that's boring.
Oh, yeah. I've seen Literature Devil's review of it, and he did not give it a lot of glowing praise.
It's awful. It's terrible. And Luke, I read it. I read the whole, and when I say Isem 1, we're talking about a trade paperback. You know what I mean? Not a single issue comic. I couldn't tell you shit about it 2 minutes after I read it. Because it was that kind of thing that just your brain is like, we don't need this. We're not keeping this. We're not filing this away. This is not. We're just, when your computer deletes a picture, it starts overriding it with new data. That's what my brain did. No, we're not keeping this. We don't need to know about what if Luke Cage was written by a retard. We don't need this in our lives.
Oof.
Chat says, didn't EVS melt down? I mean, EVS has had some crash outs, that's for sure. I like it. Look, I used to think kind of poorly of EVS because of Comicsgate. And he is a bit of an asshole, admittedly. He is. I think by his own admission, he can be a bit of a dick. He is a tremendous artist. No taking that away from him. And whether you hate Cyberfrog or not, he has done work at DC in particular that will live on for generations. Now, I think that work had a lot more to do with writer Jeff Jones, but whatever. His art is still spectacular. Chat says EVS won't ever finish it. See, that's EVS is he started too many projects. He's not getting them done fast enough. But I mean, hell, I've been working on a book for 5 fucking years. Who am I to talk? Of course, nobody gave me a small fortune to make it. That said, though, I would just like it if even what he's done of modern Cyberfrog so far should be in a trade paperback. Just give me a fucking trade paperback so I can read it all. I don't want to hunt down individual issues on fucking eBay. I did read a little bit of it, and it's quite good, but it's I'd rather just. Chad says I have to buy Isem to win the culture war and own the libs. Isem is so bad, man. Again, I like Cyberfrog. You can find, by the way, the 90s Cyberfrog collected on eBay right now for like
We're trying to get a feel for how.
Between 20 and 30 bucks, which for a trade paperback that size is a good price. And it's got everything he did in the 90s, even the fucking crossover with another character named Creed that he doesn't own. So it's cool that he had, he got permission to put that in there. And he's got like behind the scenes wizard interviews, talking like inside baseball shit when he was at Harris Comics and shit. It's a great thing to have. I recommend. But yeah, which of these three would anybody at a fucking Comic Con recognize any of them? Chat says, Beglov, do you get your comics graded? Or are you a hardcore there for reading, not for sitting in a display on a shelf? I've never had a comic book graded, no. And I'm not even really a collector as much as I used to be. I used to have like 50 fucking short boxes of comics at one point. But let me tell you something. You move 4 times in 5 years, and you get a little fucking tired of hauling them around. So, when I started that comic stand, a lot of it got sold to that little business of me and my buddies as stock. I have 4 boxes of comics right now, and they're not even really full. Like, I have one that's just What If issues, because I love that series. I have one that's a bunch of random Marvel and DC stuff that just means a lot to me. And I have 2 boxes that are kind of like licensed comics that are generally hard to find. But I don't hold on to comics anymore like I used to. Like everything you see on Twitter where I'm like, oh, look, my stack of Wednesday comics, that eventually gets sold to one of the stores I'm friends with or buddy that does cons or something like that. I don't hold on to this shit anymore. At this point, I would rather have a big bookshelf full of like trades and omnibuses that I can just read over and over again and not worry too much about condition. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've never been big on the grading comics because it's like I get collecting them, I get wanting to preserve them, and I am as anal retentive as you can possibly imagine when it comes to my comics. Like I read them carefully and put them in a bag and board. That's why the people I do sell my comics to know that they don't even have to ask about condition. So yeah, I'm all for preserving them, but I'm all for preserving them for the purposes that they exist, which is to be read. They're not slabs of plastic that have pretty pictures on the front. That's not what they exist for. I've never felt the need to get a comic graded. I have no interest in that. I don't see the appeal. I don't really ever see myself buying a graded comic or anything. Like it's nah. Like yeah, they are meant to be read. I think if you get like again, I like collecting them's fine. I like that if for no other reason it preserves these things. But like when you're too far into collect the collector thing, then it's like that's how you end up with like Youngblood #1 in 1992 selling like 8 million copies or some shit to people that bought boxes of it because they thought it would pay for their retirement years later. Like that's not
Even get these anymore.
That's because I bought them all.
But you didn't even open them yet.
Duh. Hello, Earth to Kid. Toy.
Luke, did you ever read any of the Simpsons comics that Bongo did?
Oh no, how are they?
They're pretty good. I mean, they have that classic Golden Age Simpsons humor, but they skew a bit younger because they more for the kid fans. But there was one series, Bartman, which is Bart as a superhero, right?
Mm-hmm.
The plot of issue 1 is that like Bart's at the comic book store and he sees a copy of Radioactive Man that was supposed to have a foil like stamp on the cover, but it didn't have the foil stamp. And so it was an error and the guy was selling it for more because it was rare, right?
Right.
And Bartman looks into it and finds that like they were stealing comics before they were supposed to get foil stamped. And like he thwarts this whole fucking little scheme. But the funny thing is, a bunch of these comics fall into the foil, right? Into the foil stamp, like the liquid ink. And then at the comic book store, he's selling these comics that had literally the whole comic had fallen in the ink. So it's forever just this fucking slab of silver, right? Can't be opened or anything like that. And if it could be opened, there'd be no reading it. You know what I mean? So Eddie goes, it will forever be mint unread. And therefore, it's the most valuable comic book ever. So yeah, I don't like that mentality, which is exactly what they were making fun of in the Bartman comic. By the way, Bongo did Radioactive Man comics based on like the comic that Bart likes, and they were fucking great. They were very good parodies of superhero stories throughout the ages. Chat says, I am certain that I still have the old Image and Valiant comics from the 90s that I bought thinking they would be valuable. Oh, yeah, the Deathmate Valiant Image crossover. That was the old joke after the industry crash in the mid-90s. They were like, comic stores were burning copies of Deathmate to stay warm.
Oh.
God, Deathmate. Fucking Image sucks so bad. The Valiant characters suck too, to be honest, but God, Image sucked. Like Spawn was the best thing early Image did, and it's still. I like that Bartman art too, by the way. I like how it's cartoony, but still has this real. Like even at the age of like 10, I looked over that and I was like, "Wow, that's fucking rad." I like how that was like basically never in the show. It was just something that was on T-shirts that they decided to run with in the fucking 90s comics. That is tremendously good art for being like cartoony. It's so dynamic.
It's
like I understand it's a parody, but it's genuinely good art. Simpsons comics produce some decent shit.
Oh, I found the clip with the silver. Wow, a whole book dipped in silver ink, but the pages are all stuck together. You can't read it. That's precisely the point. Since it can't be read, it is set in mint condition forever. Wow. Yoink. For $200.
That's right, Chad. Bartman was in one episode. He dressed like that at a Comic-Con. There's also, like, years and years later, one of the Tree Houses of Horror did, like, a superhero parody Bartman story. But that was, like, 2010 Simpsons when no one gives a shit. I'd love to find the later issues of Bartman because they never got reprinted. But, God, they're hard to find. They're so pricey when you find them too now. I like too that like in the comics, like in the show, Bart always had that orange shirt, right? But you may remember back in the day, all the promotional material for The Simpsons had Bart in a blue shirt. Like you'd constantly see him that way in T-shirts, and hell, the arcade game that Konami made had him in a blue shirt. He was never in a blue shirt in the cartoon.
Yeah,
like Bart is in an orange shirt. But when I close my eyes and imagine Bart, I still picture the blue shirt. I think he looks better in a blue shirt, to be honest. Boy, The Simpsons used to be so good. I'm so glad that they canceled it after a decent amount of time and didn't just drag it on until it's a fucking zombie shell of itself.
Yeah,
that would be terrible.
Yeah, it would be terrible if it only existed to make reference to shows that exist right now and not even popular, not even good shows. That'd be miserable.
God, it's such a fucking walking corpse of itself. I'm not even one of these guys that's like spurging out about how things have to end. We have to end things after a certain amount of time because everything has to have an end. It's like, whatever, man. I'm fine with keeping franchises alive with reboots and shit as long as there's life to it. I mean, Scooby-Doo is like 50 plus fucking years old, and Scooby-Doo is still pretty good because every once in a while they let it rest and then revamp it with some new creative energy. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine. You know, Superman and Batman have existed since the fucking 40s. Like, it's fine to like let things. There's not an arbitrary point when you have to cut something off. But that's when there's still life. Like Family Guy's a good example. I think Family Guy's still funny. Like, it's not the show it used to be, sure, but it's still funny. South Park is, I don't think, still funny, but at least it's still Matt and Trey. It still feels like South Park, even if they've lost their touch. The Simpsons is so far removed from any of the original creative factors that created it.
Oh,
Like the original writers, the fucking cultural, the culture that it came from. I mean, hell, half of the things in The Simpsons were dated when The Simpsons came out. The whole treehouse and slingshot and all crap of Bart is just reheated Dennis the Menace shit from decades earlier. I mean, Bart's favorite show is basically fucking Bozo the Clown. Like, everything about it was a bit too dated and a bit of Matt Groening's fucking childhood when it started. Like, The Simpsons existed in a world where everyone was expected to go to church. Even if they didn't really believe it. Like, Mo went to church. You know what I mean? Like, he just, like, Apu and the Jewish characters were the only ones that didn't go to church in the whole fucking town. Like, yeah, The Simpsons, I don't know. It would have been one thing if they would have let the show rest and maybe rebooted it with a new vision, or maybe do spin-offs. I mean, a Radioactive Man show spoofing superhero stuff would probably be fire. You know, but like keeping it on in the form it is, where like all the voice actors sound old and tired, and the writing is dog shit. And the other thing is like the art. Every character in The Simpsons that was introduced after like season 10 doesn't look like they belong in The Simpsons. Like if you look at like the first 10 seasons, even when there would be a celebrity, they would draw it in a way that looked like it was part of that universe. And now you see newer characters and they're way too hyper detailed. They just don't look like the same. South Park did this too a bit, by the way. There's certain, like, you can find right now, like, Conan O'Brien being spoofed in South Park now versus, like, years ago. And it's like now they just take a celebrity's voice and put the South Park's eyes on it, where they used to really do it in their art style. I don't know, man. I wish The Simpsons would be fucking canceled. Because it was once the greatest show on television, Luke.
yeah.
The Simpsons was so good that even years after its peak, it was still good. Like, do you remember the Rib Witch episode?
Rib Witch.
It's like making fun of the McDonald's McRib. It's the Krusty Burger Rib Witch.
What was that one about?
Like they finally stopped selling it because Krusty's like, the animal we made it out of was extinct. And he goes, the pig is extinct? He goes, no, think smaller, more legs. That episode's from 2003, Luke.
Oh, man.
Like, that's a classic episode that people meme, right? And it's from, like, easily 5 years, if not more, after the show peaked. The show was at such a high that even when it started going downhill, it had several years before it got bad.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it was something I watched every single day. I mean, there's enough episodes out for you watch every day, never repeat. But now it's just,
Oh God, I used to. The Simpsons was like my favorite show at one point. Now, yeah, I was a kid and all, but like, even into it being a teenager, it's like, this is it. This is the fucking tits. Like, I think at its peak, The Simpsons was at that point the greatest show that had been on television. I would put it at number one at that point. Like, classic Simpsons is so good. It still holds up. I can't imagine who's watching the modern shit. My God. Ew.
God. Drool bibs of God.
Drool clean up at register 4.
It's also like modern Simpsons is too well animated and it's too cleanly it's too cleanly drawn with too many details. You know, you brought up that that Powerpuffs clip with the nerd that collected the toys.
yeah.
I was watching part of that on Twitter the other day, and one thing that struck me was like you would see things in the background, like in the toy store, you would see like Powerpuff Girl dolls or something on the shelf, and they would literally be colored like the Buttercup doll would literally be colored with just a big fucking green square of just green slapped over it. Like Powerpuff Girl art and animation early on looked like shit. And I say that in the best way because it actually added something to the show because it gave the show this vibe of almost feeling like kindergartners made it in the best way possible, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Like just the sloppy way everything was drawn. Every character design felt like somebody quickly drew it on a fucking napkin, right? I remember at the time, because I loved Powerpuff Girls when it was out. I was a teenager even, and I was like, this is brilliant. This is amazing animation. This is a great superhero parody. I adore this fucking show. Yeah, there you go. Look at how shitty that looks. Look at that. It looks like ass. I love it. Like that's so perfect. Like it's like nobody gave a fuck. I love it. And then you like watch the Powerpuff Girls movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like everything's cleanly animated. They sent it to some fucking gook studio who put all this heart and effort into it. It's like, now I don't like it. You tried too hard. I don't want that for Powerpuff Girls. I want it to look like shit. Okay? I want Simpsons characters that look crudely drawn and constantly break model for a fucking frame in some goofy way to really exaggerate shit. I don't want something that was drawn on a fucking tablet in vector art and then constantly zoomed in for hyper detail. I don't want that from The Simpsons or the Powerpuff Girls or Family Guy.
Yeah, default animation technology doesn't really allow for that kind of gradients. I mean, Krita is the only exception, but they're deliberately trying to mimic like Photoshop and lines, so you can actually make something look hand drawn, whereas everything now is just so crisp and clean and digitalized that it never happens.
You don't like that, man. I like the heart and soul. And I know that's like that sounds like buzzwords, but it's like, yeah, they're difficult things to quantify. I get
the first season of Dexter's Lab and the last season of Dexter's Lab.
Oh yeah, easily. Like, I get like there's a difference too. Like if something's an action cartoon, like if something's Batman or Ninja Turtles, and it's something that's meant to be taken more seriously, quote unquote. But you know what I mean? Like it's, you know, even as a kid, you recognize this isn't a goofy comedy, slapstick nonsense. This is something where these characters are like they're facing real threats and all that kind of shit. That's a little different. Like, yeah, you want maybe cleaner animation and something like that. You want maybe more detail and something like that. But when you're just doing like goofy shit posts like the Powerpuff Girl, like that's what the Powerpuff Girls were. It was a shit post at the end of the day. That's why I adored it as a fucking cynical teenager. You know what I mean? Like, I also wish we had more fucking 2D animation instead of 3D. Everything's got to be fucking 3D. Oh God, I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired. Can Skynet go back in time and destroy Pixar? Like, I just enough with the fucking 3D. Every time, my favorite of the Ninja Turtle shows, because I've watched through all of them now. Well, I never watched through Rise because it was dog shit. But my favorite is a 2012. But every time they would do like a flashback, it would be 2D animation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And every time I'd see those character animations in 2D animation, or when I'd see like the comic tie into it and I'd see them drawn in 2D, I'm like, why couldn't this show have been this? It looks so good.
Yeah, first season, last season art.
Yeah, that's I want the simpler thing. I want the shittier looking thing. I do. And I know that sounds weird to say, but it's like,
I think what's really at the heart of that is that it actually looks like a drawing brought to life, whereas the other one doesn't look so much like a drawing.
yeah. And like, again, if you're talking about like impressive animation stuff, it's one thing if you're watching even something like Ninja Turtles, or if you're watching, Treasure Planet, or, Prince of Egypt or something, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, yeah, it's kid friendly, but it's also meant to be something that has an epic and stakes and all this other shit to it. It's fine. But like, you're not, Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls and The Simpsons aren't meant to be that, okay? They're meant to fucking make you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And if something's like that, then it should have a certain simplicity to it. Speaking of cartoons, the voice actress of Kim Possible just announced she has cancer.
Oh, that's sad.
Apparently she's having a hard time getting her fucking insurance to pay for it. I would think she'd have money. I don't know what they paid her, but I mean, she was in some Disney Channel show that ran for like 7 years. Whatever the one Shia LaBeouf was in. I don't know. I didn't watch it. But she was the older sister in the Shia LaBeouf show from like the late 90s.
Even Stevens, was it?
That's it. That's the one. And I mean, I'm sure she had to have made some money there. I don't know. I would think she's getting some Kim Possible royalties or something. For God's sakes, woman, like, go to Comic Cons and sign Kim Possible shit. Like, I would have thought she would have gotten work too. She was always hot as hell. She was a decent comedic actress. Hell of a voice actress. I would have thought she would have gotten more work. But apparently, yeah, she's not even sure if she can get her insurance to fucking cover it. So, thoughts and prayers for my gal KB there. Kim Possible is another show that was like for kids, and I was like 19 when it came out. And part of why I got into it, Luke, is because it's the exact same art style as Clerks, the Clerks cartoon.
Yep.
It's one of the same guys as like the art director of it. Like, I'm literally flipping through the channels, and I'm like, come across it, and I'm like, this looks like that Clerks cartoon. What is this? In my head, Luke, I believe the Clerks cartoon takes place in the Kim Possible universe. They're one, like, oh well, there's Kim Possible shit's going on out in New Jersey. Dante and Randall are having their fucking adventures at the Quick Stop. Yes, Chad. Shia LaBeouf got beaten up recently. Apparently, he's divorcing his wife too. That poor guy.
He's
fucked in the head.
Just making it worse for himself all the time, huh?
He was hot shit for a while, Luke. People forget, like, everybody makes fun of him now, but like, he was in those Transformers movies, and say what you will about him, but they were doing really big. He was in that fucking Indiana Jones movie that I personally think is underrated. And make no mistake, they were going to give his character spin-off movies. Like, that was the plan. But he became so uninsurable because he was constantly like, There's a weird scene in Transformers 2 where like they get teleported to Egypt or something, and somehow the teleporting fucking portal burns his hand for some reason. And the whole reason that happens in the movie is because he showed up to the set with a broken hand because he had a motorcycle accident.
Oh, really?
That's the whole reason that happens. It's like, because even as I'm watching, I'm like, why did the teleporter burn it? Why did the edge of the portal is hot or something? It didn't hurt anybody else. I don't understand what they're saying here.
Right.
Not that was the weirdest fucking thing in Transformers 2 by any stretch, but Kim Possible is so good. The fucking cartoon ruled. That cartoon was legitimately funny. It really was. Quality content. I've gone back and rewatched it like on Disney Plus. I'm like, yeah, it still holds up. And it's basically untouched. You talk about Disney milking the shit out of everything. They did a live action movie that was just like straight to Disney Channel back in like, I want to say 2018-ish. Which wasn't bad. It was pretty poorly received, but I really didn't think it was bad. Like the guy from Drew Carey's show that was also the voice of Batman in Batman Brave and the Bold, he was Dr. Draken, and he's so good in that fucking movie that it's actually worth watching just for him alone. He is doing a Raw Al Julia M. Bison. That's how much energy he is bringing to Dr. Draken in this Disney Channel original movie. He went on set every day and he's like, I am giving this shit 200%. Like, I can't remember that actor's name. See if you can find his name. He was the voice of Batman in Batman Brave and the Bold, and he was one of the buddies on Drew Carey's show. See if you can find his name for me. But he is his Dr. Draken was, and the girl that played Kim Possible and the kid that played Ron Stoppable looked and sounded a lot like them. I would have watched a live action show of that. If they'd have just made that a weekly show, I'd have watched that actor chewing scenery as Dr. Draken every fucking week. Hell yeah. The only thing that was like really out of place was the one teacher that was also like, I think, a PE teacher that was voiced by Joe Swanson. That actor, Putty from Family Guy. He's like this big jacked, like drill sergeant looking dude in the cartoon, and he's this fat schlubby guy in the live action one. That's the only one where they didn't make it look like the cartoon.
Todd Stashwick. That's the actor's name.
Oh, the Dr. Draken actor?
Yeah.
He's so good in it, Luke. It's honestly worth watching just for him. Like if you have any, if it's still, I don't know if it's on Disney Plus or anything like that, but if you find it, it's honestly like him alone. He is giving it an M. Bison from the 90s Street Fighter performance. He is going all in. He is trying so much harder than that movie deserves.
I could just find that one clip. That'd be fantastic.
Chat says Crystal Skull giving the prequels revisit. Okay, so here's the deal on Crystal Skull. I am a Crystal Skull defender. Now, is Crystal Skull a great movie? No, not at all. But here is where I will defend Crystal Skull. It is no worse than Temple of Doom. Because like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade are both masterpieces. They're so good. Top shelf, 10 out of 10. No notes. Temple of Doom is kind of a mess. It doesn't have the same heart. It doesn't have the same level of writing. It doesn't have the same level of characterizations. But you know what? Temple of Doom is pretty fucking fun. Because it's like, hey, you like Indiana Jones? Here's more Indiana Jones. That's what Temple of Doom is. Like, it's not maximum effort Indiana Jones. It's not top shelf Indiana Jones. But it's more Indiana Jones. Crystal Skull is like that. Crystal Skull definitely has its moments. I love watching those big giant Amazon ants eat the fucking communists. Like, Crystal Skull definitely has its moments. He gets together with the girl. I love that line where he's like, yeah, there were other ones, but they all had the same problem. They weren't you. Fucking hey. Just a perfect romantic line. Love it. Crystal Skull's great. Temple of Doom's great. They're not the masterpieces that Raiders or Last Crusade are. Like, not at all. But, like, so what? They're still good. It's like that Ghostbusters 2 syndrome, where it's like a RoboCop 2, or even Beetlejuice 2, to give a modern one. It's like, those are good movies. They're not as good as the literal masterpieces that preceded them, but they're still good. Dietrich Bader is Batman Brave and the Bold. Okay. Well, that's the actor that did Dr. Draken. And God, he's so good in that fucking movie. I don't really remember much about that movie, other than thinking most of the characters look spot on. And the guy playing Dr. Draken was having so much fun.
My long-awaited victory. As I rotted away in that cell.
The evil plan reveal.
I love him and Shigo in that cartoon. It's so good. They're so good. That cartoon rules. That's the kind of woman you want, man. You want a Shigo. You want somebody that will bust your balls but would also die for you. That's your ride or die right there. Well, Luke, we've gone on for about an hour and a half now. I think we're going to wrap it up for this week. But first, before we wrap it up, let's take a look and see if we got ourselves any super chats. We probably didn't, because this is terrible content. But we'll take a look. See if anybody donated. I guess not. Nothing on super chats. But folks, if you do enjoy the content, you want to donate, there is streamlabs.com/thebeckloff, paypal.me/thebeckloff. You can donate that way. And there's also a link to the Amazon wishlist down below if you want to buy me some dumb shit that I like. And remember, every time you buy me comic books, trads on Twitter get really mad. Real big mad. All right. Well, that's about it for this week, folks. I want to thank everybody for watching. We will be back here again next week, 8 p.m., God willing. That's it for tonight. Beckloff out.